Hello everybody and welcome to artofdino.com via saveearth.us, and today I've got a little exploration of the San Francisco panorama, and a few guys have done this before in a different way. John Levy, a bunch of people have showed this picture. Martin Liedke, awesome, everyone awesome has seen this picture of San Francisco. But recently David Rumsey posted, I didn't even see it on Twitter, I just ended up checking the Rumsey site, and he had a image of San Francisco posted with labels on it, about 225 labels, and so it tells what some of these buildings were. And I one of the days I went down a little rabbit hole and I was like, wow, I gotta see what that is. Oh, I gotta see what that is. Oh, give me what that is. And I realized it was going to be a very comprehensive task. So after I show this panorama, I'll show the Twitter post from Rumsey, and then I'll show the image that I'm going to explore, and then a few pictures that I captured from when I dove a little deeper into like the Palace Hotel and some other, like, people, some of the places just have names, so it must have been their residence. So I wanted to find out who that was. But Edward Muybridge is the guy who took the photograph, and he's awesome. And I'll include that link in the David Rumsey in the information below. But this one right here is the one I'm going to explore, and I'll just basically do a screen video of it and a screen recording and explore it with you guys, and we'll see what sticks out to us, and then we'll take a look at what it is. And then if you guys have the ability or the drive to do so, you look deeper and deeper into stuff and chime in the comments. Again, I would go really deep and spend hours and days on videos like this, but not for 100 views, 200 views to a sickening corporation like YouTube. It's just, sadly, it's not worth my effort. But I've dived into this and I found out a bunch of stuff on my own, and I'll share some of the pictures here. But I want you guys to dive into it because I might make some videos later about some of the more interesting findings. But again, here are some of the pictures I found from my little independent research. I'll show some of these and then I'll go into the screen recording. And again, there's a cool little Chaz Crocker. You'll see him, he's right on the end, but look at that house. That could be anywhere in Europe. If that was in Europe, it would have a much different history. Same with this. You'd see that in Amsterdam, Germany, France, England. You could see that anywhere, but only here, supposedly it was just whatever. So this place had burned down, the earthquake toppled it. All this stuff. The story is just unbelievable. San Francisco's history is so littered with lies that it hurts to even think about. But it's up to all of us to piece it together and figure out what went wrong, where it went wrong, who's responsible, and how we can get to the ultimate truths again. And because who made this civilization? We have to know. We clearly realize it wasn't the horse and carriage people we were told. It wasn't the Native Americans in the teepees. It was something different, and something way more advanced, something incredible, some amazing civilization. Tartaria, perhaps Spain, France, some derivation of something we've never even heard, maybe another place that was erased to time and through history. Who knows? There could be so many things. There's another group could have come down from the realm, built a bunch of stuff, and then gotten beaten or been like, ugh, I don't want to deal with these Brits or whoever. I'm just going to get out of here. And then they abandon their cities to go back to someplace better outside this realm, which is probably much better and less controlled. So any type of story the imagination can bring up could be possible until we find out the ultimate truth of all of this. So I don't know that ultimate truth yet. I'm just going to spitfire and put out a bunch of theories. So I hope you all enjoy this little video here, this little collection, and again, go deeper. I encourage you all to go deeper. Check out the links, and here we go. Let's explore this panorama and see what we can find. And also, remember to keep in mind that this was the home of one of the most amazing World's Fair expositions, and if you want to find more of what was happening around 1877 when these pictures were taken, you have to look no further than to be blown away by that exposition, which still remains. Many of it still remains, but a lot of it was destroyed, sadly. But here we go. Let's explore this panorama. Panorama of San Francisco by Muybridge. Massive, amazing photographer, incredible picture. I'm not sure if this is the same. I think this is different than that last one, so I want to take a look at some things that will stick out as we look through. We'll start up at the 1, and then when we see something really cool, we'll check it out. So let's see what happens here. Can I zoom in here or no? Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. So we're going to start up here. So right away, boom, you see these buildings that look like they're from Ukraine. They look like they're from anywhere else but here. All over Europe, everywhere. Amsterdam, France, England, every single place has buildings like this, and so does America, San Francisco, which is pretty interesting. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll look at those ones. Those are all right in that area. One is this distant one, which again looks like a super massive, beautiful house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Golden Gate, Presidio, Chaz Crocker. I think I've got a picture of him included. D.D. Colton, Geo A. Hill. So these are like big-time businessmen who are already getting the big bucks, claiming the big houses for themselves. This whole area right here has got to be something. I don't know what, but something was either on top of that or I don't know. But there is definitely, it's just too weird to have an incredibly crowded city and then this just lump of stuff that's like, looks like it's been ripped in half and exploded in some kind of crazy way. So again, who knows? But look at some of the shapes of these things over here. Look at the way that goes. Very cool, interesting shape with a little cupola on the top. Distant houses, you got some immaculate houses and then right next to these other ones which could have potentially been built. They look like seacoast houses just in a typical seacoast town, and these look like they were something else. They were probably government buildings maybe of the past civilization, but who knows. Look at this, 221. I wonder what that is. That looks like an antenna of some sort. Let's check it out. 221. Very last thing, Mark Hopkins. So maybe we'll have to take a look at that. Oh, that must be the top of a building that is down there. So again, look at this crazy stuff. Same with this one. Yeah, this is the Mark Hopkins too. I think I looked it up. So take a look at those photos and they should be in there. I was gonna go in a lot more depth of this, but again, it's not worth it if I'm gonna get like 5 views. So I just am gonna keep it kind of the easy way. I could do things the hard way, but it's not worth it anymore with YouTube, sadly. So I apologize, but I want to encourage you all to look into it. So look at this, 10 in the back. That is massive, whatever that is, super huge. And either way, even still, you got to counter in the fact that this is the primest real estate of all, right on the other side of the cliff. They didn't even label this one. I wonder what that means. Maybe they didn't know the person, but again, more European style buildings, supposedly built here by farmers with zero anything. So I just want to check out 10 real quick. Oh, 10 is Sausalito. So again, what are they talking about? That was the name of a town, I thought, but maybe a person. Who knows? Again, more things to look into. 9, we got the hills in the background, different places. This area looks beautiful, really incredible. So cool. Some different little farmer kind of things over here. Looks like some damage maybe happened. But again, more of these wooden houses, which were probably just for the workers, the fishermen, the builders, the different people, and then the people that owned the businesses and owned the control of stuff, probably in the really big houses. 24, I'm kind of curious about that. 24 and 24 ABC. Let's see what that's all about. 24. Let's see, Meigs Wharf, North Beach, Toland Medical College, and Home for Inebriates. Look at all this stuff. Colored Church, Methodist Church, all these different churches in this whole area. Telegraph Hill School, County Jail. Let's go check out some of these. Look at amazing things. Fog Bell. What a wild place. This place must have been so cool to live in. And again, definitely not built that they say. The story they tell us is just absolute garbage. Look at these things. Wow, so cool. Amazing church right here. The one we just mentioned, connected to there. Super cool. Nice little windows up there. These 2 little towers over here look like they're part of something immaculate. Look like some old world tower. 30, again, I think that's Telegraph Hill. Wonder what was on top of that at one point. I feel like there was a tower from some other pictures I saw, but it might be a different location. Either way, 32, let's check that out real quick. I forget what they said. St. Francis's Church. Good old St. Francis. Animal-loving man. Here we go. And then there are some more. Again, boom. So there's just old world things that you find again all over Europe, scattered around these and then other ones built in between that are a little more detailed. This one looks odd because of the crack in the photo. The stitching isn't perfect. But so keep that in mind when looking at some of these. But look at these. Boom. Columns over here by 1991. Huge little archways. More columns. Over here, massive buildings. Perhaps columns. Huge, massive, amazing things. Perfectly laid out city that's been risen, fallen down, and then risen again, probably. Not just the beginnings of a city. This is the middle of a city. 134, I'm curious about that church. And again, look at this one, another one right here. So 134 and 137. Let's see, Jewish synagogue and colored church. They got a few colored churches. So there was a very good variety here at this time. And again, Amazing. Look at this. 131. I'm curious what that is. 131 is St. Patrick's Church. Tons of so-called churches. And again, are they churches or are they something totally different that we have no clue, lost the time, taken over by the church, who was part of the system of controls and resets? 119, this one I think is the Palace Hotel. Let me check real quick, but I have some pictures of those that I included before. 119 Palace Hotel, yeah, amazing views, amazing like celebrityness there. And again, looks old, super old. 109, 110, massively old. Let's see what they've got for that. Masonic Hall, of course, and Thurlow Block. Boom. These people were here right away. Masons, Freemasons, capitalizing on all of this beautiful masonry. This one right here, super cool, like a little housing complex, triplex. All these amazing, and again, these are super solid buildings. They aren't just like weak wooden buildings. This is a nice little portal here, but super amazingly strong, well-built buildings. You see the scattered ones in between that are crappy little shanties, but the main bulk of these things are massive and old, so old world, it's disgusting. And then boom, look at this mud flood down here. We got the mud flood windows already on those hills. So how deep do those things go? Are the hills even authentic? The hills might even be filled in. These things might go so far deeper, and the true entrance to them may be way below. Who knows? Are those hills even real? I don't know. They probably, but again. And now we take a look at this last one down here. Look at these places. Boom, more churches. 152, massive. Look at this. This is the Full House house. This looks like the Full House. Maybe even probably is. I don't know. I know it's near across from a park, so I'm not sure about there. But that kind of looks like the Full House from the old school things. 157. So 152 and 157. Let's take a look real quick. A 152 Military Division Pacific, interesting. And then 153 German Church, 157 Dr. Stone's Church, and Lutheran Church, 158. So again, wow, Dr. Stone's Church, what the heck was that guy teaching? And maybe he just was able to get maybe he was a doctor that was able to get one of these places. This would be one over here. This one, you can barely see it. There's some kind of church there. And again, how many other little amazing buildings are tucked into this place that we can't see right here? Holy God, 150 and 148. Let me take a look at that. What is that puppy? 150 is Baldwin's Hotel and Theater. Super cool. Right there, boom. That's a hotel and a theater in one. Wow. So what was that before? Again, look at these massive buildings, amazing entranceway, all connected, kind of like Boston, but not totally like Boston. Boston's will go in a huge row, incredibly long, without streets, all one building. This is kind of, again, by the same builders, the same civilization that built it, but they just put more roads in here. And again, is it the Spanish? Is it the Tartarians? What is it? Who was it? 179, look at that. That looks Moorish right there. What's that all about? 179 is DJ Oliver. So again, these are things to look up. I can't look them up all because it's not worth it for me, but I want you to inspire you all to check it out. 170, what is that? That looks like an amazing little tower. It looks like a Saturn V rocket at the top of that thing. Again, archways all over the place. Super solid buildings. Super solid. I'm willing to believe, and I know a fire couldn't destroy all of this stuff. They had to destroy it in many other ways by blowing it up and doing all kinds of other nasty things. 171, 175, curious. 171 is Congdon's Block, next to that Presbyterian church, and the Convent of Sacred Heart. So many churches. And then Post Street Synagogue. 175, Dr. Scott's Church. So there's all these doctors that seem to have churches. And again, healing. That is one of the biggest clues I've seen so far as to them being used as healing buildings, and that looks amazing, and not originally being used for religious places. And again, that's the similar kind of thing, spiritual healing or physical healing. If these were originally designed for physical healing places, then it makes sense that the church would take over it, because they could give people an immediate and unknown well-being feeling of greatness that they could explain as being religious and being a spiritual effect. But in actuality, it was probably just the way the building was built, the frequencies, the everything, the technology built into the churches themselves, the so-called churches, that were healing places. 173. I'm willing to believe it because I'm seeing a lot of doctors running these places. And again, it doesn't mean that they built it. It just means that they claimed it. So 173 and 175. Let's check that out. 173. Post Street Synagogue, yep, and Dr. Scott's Church, like we said. I was looking at them again. But again, yeah, so cool and wild and amazing. And how did these doctors get to take these spots? Did they just have enough money to buy them out from the controllers, or something else? Did they, were they there for the claiming, and they're just like, boom, hey doctors, we need some doctors, come in here. Which place do you want? All right, you got it. Make that the little healing center, the hospital. And we're going to take these other ones, though, doc, and we're going to convince people that it's spiritual healing that's going on here. And then we'll just further our control of everybody's minds. And again, more mud flood, boom, but also very elaborate things here. So it may have been part of the technology where just they were building underground, things that would go underground, maybe to get away from some of the heat. You could have places that go underground and people would be like fine with living on the negative 4th floor or the negative 5th floor. 220, boom, that is a solid building. 220. Denman School. Very cool. Look at that. Boom. Nice school. And all these things, again, look at this little zone here. Was that something that was cleared out or just hadn't been built yet? Or, again, maybe destroyed during the battle that made this civilization lose and then just hadn't been replaced? Again, over here you have a bunch of mud and dirt creeping in. Maybe that's just some of the piled up stuff that they dug out. And some of the mud flood, a little stash. Again, this place right here, 217, 219. Beautiful, beautiful places. Wow. And then 3. I'm going to check that out again. But 217, 219, and 215. Look at this row of 3 massive buildings. And probably, not as amazing, but still incredible. I have a feeling these are elaborate. Everything's elaborate. So 215, 17, and 19. John Taylor, R. Tobin, L.B. Benchley. Rich guys, probably Freemasons, controlling all this stuff. Again, a lot of things to look up around here, but 3, let's just check that out again, because look at that, boom. There's no difference than that in the buildings that you see all over the place that have a much older history to them, and there's no way to deny it. To say this was made by people at the beginning in a population of 10,000 in a town that just formed like right after a gold rush, absolutely disgusting to even think that that's possible. It's sickening that so many generations were duped. Chaz Crocker, gonna have to look into him, and then D.D. Dalton, boom. But this is a rich street right here. Curious to see if it's still around and what it would look like today. But again, look at all this stuff. And again, that probably had a tower on top of it. How much this probably had something on top of it, the communication things, which they let go, the ether generators, the power sources, the healing things, the lightning rods, whatever they were, teleconnections, something we don't even know about. Who knows? But look, I'll share the link with this photo and take a look and see if you saw anything that clicked with something I saw or anything. And dive deeper and share the link below. Look at this even. That's like a thin building. It almost looks like a boat right there. Really wild. So many cool things to see in these panoramas. You could look at this forever. And so we'll see what happens. If you dig, again, another little construction zone over there. Such a nuts thing. So crazy how badly they've lied to us all and how frequently they've lied to us. Yep, that's that Dalton house that's on the left of that other one. I mean, on the far right down at the bottom. And then also this is that other house that we didn't get to fully see. And again, massive. And what is this? Just like a chunk of concrete in the back. Doesn't even make sense. None of it does. Look at the construction here. This guy's living in this beautiful house, and his yard is a disaster. He's got things all over the place, and he's right next to more construction. And again, what are they not showing? They only show us what they want to show us always. So factor that in as well. But either way, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this little collection. Sorry I didn't take it as deep as some of you may have liked, but I want to inspire you all to take a look as well, and maybe you all will have more views than I will, so the research will go a little further that way. And I hope you all enjoyed this again. So bless you all, and thank you, David Rumsey, and thank you, Muybridge, and let's keep digging up these mysteries and getting closer and closer to the truth that we all deserve for our children and ourselves, and even our parents before they pass on. I want them to know that what we're talking about is real, and that's a big thing. If our parents go to the grave thinking all this stuff, the moon was real and all this, the moon landing, all this stuff, it's really sad for them, kind of. I mean, I think so. It's a shame to go so many years believing something that is that other people look at as a deliberate lie that they told to steer people in the wrong direction. It's just sad. It's sick, and I don't really wish that upon anyone. I want everyone to go to their end aware, and I think we all should, and we all deserve that. So hopefully we can bring a lot of this stuff to the light before it's too late for humanity to truly capture what we have lost, because it is very important. We all deserve to know, and that is the way that we can propel ourselves beautifully into the future, by knowing where our past was. If we forget our past, we are lost in the future. And so we don't want that. So bless you all again, and thank you all from artofdino.com and saveearth.us.